Parsha Nitzavim, we have this message that the Torah delivers. It's interesting machlokas rishonim as to what that message is referring to. But the concept is powerful, regardless of whether it's referring to Torah, whether it's referring to tshuva. The Torah says kemitzvah zos, that this mitzvah is lo neflei simcha. It's not far from you. B'ficha b'vavcha asoso, says the pasuk, kol b'shemayim hi. It's not over the heavens. It's not on the other side of the ocean. It's b'ficha b'vavcha asoso, and it's right there for you to do. A number of different points that come out when you see Rashi, and in terms of really one of the prerequisites for a person to make any movement in life, regardless of any major issue, but certainly when it comes to this concept of being able to have the confidence to learn Torah and to have that perspective that I can achieve in Torah. And also when it comes to tshuva, this notion that I can change, this concept that the idea of getting closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu and undoing some of the bad habits that we have, which seem to be so difficult, which year after year we seem to be grappling with. How do I get better? How do I get closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu? Am I not the exact same place I was last year? And Baruch Hashem, sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're able to do it, but very often many Jews find themselves in this perspective that I'm really no different than I was last year. And this the thought and the attitude that a person has to have within them that I can do this. That's pretty much sort of the message here as a prerequisite in order for a person to achieve anything is for the belief that I can achieve it. I've mentioned the mashal many times about the lion behind the cage, with the little child walking with his father and going into the lion cage, is fearful of this very vicious lion. And the kid asks the father, can this lion break out? Are we in danger? Can the lion, break from the cage? And the father says, yes, he can. He actually has the strength to bend those bars and to break out from the cage. So the child says, so why are we running away? Why aren't we? He says, no, don't worry. He says, yes, he is strong enough, but he doesn't know it. He doesn't know that he can. Because he thinks he can't, because he tried when he was a cub, and he tried to break open those bars, and he couldn't. That was already ingrained within him, this notion that I can't do it. And if that is ingrained, then don't worry, he won't be able to. And I think first and foremost, the message is, do you know the kind of power that you do have, of what you're able to do? Because first of all, Loi Bashamayim, he says, Rashi, in explaining that pasuk, it's not in the heavens, that had it been in the heavens, you'd have to go get it. You'd have to find a way to figure out space travel or aviation travel to go up to the heaven to get the Torah or to do tshuva. You have that ability within you. You can do it. It's an incredible message. That means if we actually tapped in, and historically, to me, it's always sort of a hinted message about the fact that there will be air travel and there will be space travel, because Loi Bashmami, I didn't put it in the heavens, but if I did, you'd have the ability, because if you'd have that responsibility, then obviously you have the wherewithal to find a way to get there. So to me, it's an incredible prediction about really what's within the latent power of humanity to be able to achieve that. But on a personal level, the message is, I didn't make it that hard for you. Had I made it that hard for you, then you'd have to find a way, and trust me, you could find a way. You'd have to travel the oceans and develop those incredible ships to be able to travel to the other side of the Pacific, which indeed we've done as well. But I didn't put it there. I didn't put it there. So first of all, just to focus on that concept that, wow, look at what we have. Look at what HaKadosh Baruch Hu put within us, the power that if we ever actually harness that which we are capable of doing, then there are incredible things we could accomplish. But also maybe on the other side of that is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't do that for us. As far as spirituality, as far as Torah, as far as tshuva, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't make it that hard. So he made it that the the movement, to change, the ability to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the ability to focus on Torah and to feel that we can do it and to actually assert oneself in these spiritual endeavors is very much within our grasp. It's that we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to really move an inch from where we are right now. It's literally in our hearts and in our minds to do. And Chaim Shulevitz points out, this is really, does seem that tshuva is quite hard. People changing, that seems to be the lifelong pursuit to actually make any type of change in our personalities and our actions. They seem to be Herculean tasks. So what does the term mean? That it's very close to you and it's right there for you to do. How do you explain that? And he says something that we see, I think, on a regular basis, even in the non-spiritual realm, is that what really makes things hard, is it really the endeavor itself that becomes difficult? Is that really what's so hard? Is it really so hard to not talk during davening? Is it really so hard to not speak lashon hara? Is it really so hard to actually manifest less anger or not be resentful or jealous of people? Is that really so hard? When you think about it intellectually, what's really the difficulty of it? And explains, and the Chavetz Chaim actually says this specifically about lashon hara. He says is that what's hard is not the request and the action. If somebody was sort of born as an adult and a clear thinking, spiritually motivated individual and was told these are the things, and very often we see this by Baalei Tshuva when they sort of have a brand new perspective of life, and they're told what the laws are. If those are the laws, those are the laws. I'm starting fresh. My entire past is gone. I'm starting new. So when you start new, when you get the list, and on the list is you can't talk disparagingly about other people, and the list says you can't talk during Chazaras Hashatz and Pesukei Zimra. Okay, those are the rules. Those are the rules. So for them, it doesn't seem to be as hard because who's it hard for? It's hard for the people who've developed the bad habits. It's hard for the people who already in their youth and as they were maybe growing, they sort of didn't take these things seriously. So their association with spirituality, with davening, and with speaking, and all these things they're already ingrained with a certain conditioning. They've been conditioned to sort of say, it's not a big deal, so I talk during davening, or I speak lashon hara, or I do this, or I do that, or that's who I am, and it's part of their routine. And says Reb Chaim that it's the regila shabbai. The reason it's b'ficha b'vav chalas also. It's totally within your grasp to do, but what makes it so hard? You get into these habits, you start getting into a rut, and that rut becomes so hard to break. But it's really not the request itself that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is asking of us. It's very doable, but the idea of breaking old habits, that's where we have to sort of create this freshness, this newness, this new approach to sort of feel, I'm this new person who I can do it. And I compare very often, although eating habits are not mundane, the idea of overeating and overly involved in even permissible food is something that is brought down as a spiritual ailment. It's not such a simple thing that it's only a physical realm. But certainly a lot of people will tell you, in terms of people who've lost weight and then gained weight and constantly back and forth. And when you're in that mode and you're in that mindset and you're clearly thinking, then you're able to do it. And all of a sudden you fall into some bad habits and boom, you sort of just you backtrack. And that happens so often in certain spiritual realms where we don't have that ability to stay focused and we get back into the old system. But if we recognize these two things, that look at the power that a human being has, the latent within us is such incredible kochos, such incredible spiritual power that we can literally, if we had to, in the intellectual power and spiritual power, if we had to find it, if we had to go after it in the heavens and on the other side of the sea, we could do that. We have that power. But look at the Chazi Hashem, that he doesn't make it that way. He doesn't make it so far away. He makes it within our grasp because we can do it, because it's right there within us. And our job is to sort of change the paradigm. Our job is to sort of shift that mindset, to sort of get out of those old habits and to start a freshness and a newness to our approach in life, where we stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's certainly what Rosh Hashanah is about, to stand as a new person, Yom Haras Olam. Today is the creation of the world. Today we stand fresh and new in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We stand there newly committed, newly accepting the Ol Malchus Shemayim, Bez Hashem, and that ability, that koyach of Rosh Hashanah, to have that Ur Yeshena Mishnaschem, that the Kol Shofar awaken us from the doldrums to a freshness and a newness to life, Bez Hashem. We should be able to fulfill these words of V'ficha b'vav chalasoso and be able to come close to Hashem in the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu designed. Shabbos.